Your world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers are getting back at it today. Tom Brady showing up to mandatory minicamp. They've got all 22 starters returning. Bruce Arians just got a raise yesterday, like the GM, got a contract extension. Buccaneers, not the favorites to win at all, but the favorites in the NFC. Only the Kansas City Chiefs have better odds at 5-1, which is somewhat surprising considering what the Bucs did to them in the Super Bowl. But the Chiefs do have that revamped offensive line and what many consider to be the best player in football, Patrick Mahomes, at the quarterback position. And there's a pretty big drop-off after those two down to the Bills and Rams and Niners. Let's go out to Tampa. Pete Prisco is standing by just off sight of the Buccaneers mandatory minicamp today. The story in Green Bay was Aaron Rodgers not showing up. Tom Brady is there. A little bit of a brace on the knee, throwing some balls around. And Pete Prisco said earlier that looked pretty good today at camp. Pete, so let's start with Tom Brady. What kind of role is he going to have this week at minicamp?
Well, he's taken part, and, there was some thought that he might not. And, in fact, Bruce Arians, the coach, said, look, we might hold him out and limit him a little bit. No chance. He went right in, and Tom Brady pushes. He wants to be a part of it. They were wise, though. They did hold him out of the blitz drills. They don't want anybody around his legs. And Tom Brady looked like the same old Tom Brady. He was, getting the ball out of his hands, hitting some shots in the middle of the field. He did throw a pick six. That's a little concerning. Russ Cockrell got him for a pick six, but he looked great. This team is loaded, and Tom Brady understands the offense now. Remember, he came in last year and was learning on the fly, and that's one thing Bruce Arians said. He knows the offense now.
Returning all 22 starters, Team Brass just got contract enhancements yesterday with Bruce Arians getting a raise, GM Jason Light being extended. Got to be a bunch of happy people out there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there was a lot of pressure on Jason Light, and there was some thought that he might be in trouble if this thing didn't turn around. And now here he is getting a long-term contract extension. Bruce Arians just got more money because clearly he's going to probably coach until Tom Brady says goodbye, which whenever that is, who knows. But I think for Jason Light, it was a good move. It's a smart move. This roster is deep and talented. They've had some really good drafts, and it wouldn't shock me at all to see this team be a better football team than they were a year ago.
A lot of mock drafts had Tampa adding a running back, but they're sticking with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. How do you see those two splitting things up this season?
Well, they did add Giovanni Bernard, and I think he's going to be a guy that can help him in the passing game and third down situations, something Tom Brady really likes. Remember, he had James White, who ironically was a high school teammate of Gio Bernard down at Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas High School, and now he has Gio Bernard in that role, and I think he'll help from that standpoint. And as far as Leonard Fournette, look, Leonard Fournette had all kinds of problems and issues in Jacksonville. He wasn't a great player there, and they got rid of him. But he came here. Bruce Arians had a nice talk with him. He said, look, I need you, straighten out, or you might not be here. He straightened out. He became dedicated to the craft, and he ended up being a big part of what they do. I think the running back position is fine. It doesn't need one star runner. They have three guys who can handle different aspects of being a running back.
All the talk is about Tom Brady, the best quarterback of all time, 7th Super Bowl championship, but it was that pass rush that won them that championship last season. What have you seen so far from their pass rushers?
Well, you look at that pass rush, Shaq Barrett's back. He's going to be a big part of what they do. And he didn't have the same type of season that he did the year before, but he did bounce back in the postseason, played very well, had 3 sacks against Green Bay. Jason Pierre-Paul is here again. Sue is back, Ndamukong Suh. And don't forget, they didn't have Vita Vea for much of that season. He came back. He's healthy again. And they did draft Joe Tryon. Joe Tryon was back on the field today. He's been limited somewhat, but he was on the field today, their first-round pick out of Washington. So you look at this team, they're going to be even better. And I hate to keep saying that. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but this will be a better team. And Bruce Arians made a good point to me. He said, look, we won the conference, we won the Super Bowl, and those banners are inside the field house. They didn't win the division. That gives them something to really shoot for and motivate this team, because you know how that is. Guys come back, they might be complacent. You didn't see it on the first day of minicamp, I can tell you that.
Pass rush is the name of the game this day and age in the NFL, but that young secondary performed well above expectations in that playoff run. What do you expect from them this season?
I think they're going to be even better. Hey, that was one thing I said last year leading into the season. I said if the young secondary grew up, that was going to be a Super Bowl team, and they grew up. It took them a while, and you hear that they had some long conversations with Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator. He had to get them straight, and they understand the defense now, and Carlton Davis really became a force at corner. Jamal Dean played well. In the back end, Antoine Winfield really came on as a rookie, and Jordan Whitehead's one of the most underrated players in the NFL. So you look at that secondary, they're going to be back again. This is a good secondary. They're going to be a year better, I think, from understanding what Todd Bowles wants from them.
As you mentioned, they used their top pick on a linebacker, Joe Tryon. You said you saw him out there today. Which rookies do you think are going to make a big impact this season for the Bucs?
I don't think there's going to be much. I really don't. I think this is a team, when you look at it on paper, I mentioned, and you talked about all the guys coming back, and they had some depth behind those guys. So, look, if Tryon gets on the field in some pass rush situations and helps in the rotation, I think that's what you can expect from him. But other than that, I don't think you're going to get a lot from this rookie class in Tampa Bay, and quite frankly, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we certainly hope that you wouldn't see anything from Kyle Trask, who they took with their second pick in the second round. That would mean bad things for Tom Brady. They returned all 22 starters, the greatest quarterback in the NFL, a defense that led them to a title, yet they aren't the favorites to do it again. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, the team they beat up in the Super Bowl. You mentioned not winning the division could be motivation. Do you think this is motivation as well, the fact that they aren't favorites to repeat?
And the fact that, it's hard to go back-to-back, Chris. I mean, that's motivation enough. Tom Brady did it once, but it was a long time ago. Winning back-to-back titles is something that, it's really a challenge for teams because everybody's gunning for you. The difference is they won a title, and I talked to some of their guys, some of the PR people about this. They won a title last year, but it really was a title with a little asterisk next to it because you didn't get to feel it. You didn't get to enjoy it. You didn't have Super Bowl media day. You didn't have all the stuff that goes with winning it. Yeah, they won it. There weren't many fans, their own fans, in the stand. And they had to deal with COVID protocols on a daily, weekly basis, who's in and who's out. I think going back with all that as a backdrop and trying to win it again is motivation enough for this group.
Pete, we're going to get your full conversation with Bruce Arians a bit later this afternoon, but what was the one thing that stood out when you spoke with him today?
Well, I think he's embracing the fact that this is the best team, and that's what you expect from Bruce Arians. Most coaches will go, oh, that's you guys saying that. He doesn't. He doesn't shy away from it. He says bring it on. He basically likes the challenge. He likes the way it's going to motivate his team. The other thing he said was this: 90% of their offense will be in by the end of the week. Think about that. And this is a team that hasn't been around. This is the first day he's been with the veterans because they haven't had their OTA days. They've had them, but the veterans haven't been here. 90% of their offense will be in by the end of the week, and that means they hit the ground running when they come back for training camp.
Pete Prisco in his element there in front of the palm trees, got that nice summer tan going and the Vineyard Vines polo shirt. This is peak summer Pete. Thank you so much. Pete Prisco joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. Dane doing a great job with the camera work as well. Good looking stuff. Bucs plus 650 to win the Super Bowl. Second favorite behind the Chiefs, plus 325 to win the NFC. They are the favorite in the conference. And the over-under win total, 11.5 with a little bit more juice on the over.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.